So welcome guys to this new drawing session where we're going to improve your lettering, not my lettering, but your lettering. I love this actually because it gives us the opportunity to learn something new and learn from other people as well. I get to learn a lot from you guys and I cannot wait to do this one. I saw this piece of Stunner ink. This is the piece that we're gonna use from today. And I saw this on Instagram and I felt like, you know what? I got a lot of ideas how you could improve this particular piece. Not because it's bad, not at all, but because those tiny little improvements, and they're not so hard, could help and go a long way in drawing these things. So we're gonna start here with the introduction. I'm gonna tell you why I love doing this exercise, the tools that I'll be using, and what should you be focusing on. If you're wondering why I'm looking over here, it's because I have my list of things to go through today in this live stream. Now, I'm really excited to see familiar faces like Kiara, Laura, Supernova, Lindo, and all these people here from France, from all these places. It's so beautiful. I see also from Indonesia, from the Philippines, and Buenos Dias, probably from also Spanish-speaking countries, if I'm correct to assume that this is Spanish. So yes, excited for you guys to be here. And what we're going to do, again, we're going to improve your lettering, and especially speaking about Stunner Ink lettering. His name is Stunner Ink. His name is actually Austin. He's from Mexico, and I'm going to show you the piece that he made. Let's see if I can zoom this in here. Whoa, maybe just need to open the whole piece here. So this is his piece. Think outside the box, and as you can see and I tell, there are a lot of awesome things about it. There's a box inside here. It's a really great quote. I've actually drawn this quote twice on a chalk wall, and it's really fun to do so. Now, I want to take this opportunity to talk about why are we doing this. So one of the things that you realize fast is you can learn a lot from others. Like, you can copy them, you can be inspired by them, but you can also learn from their mistakes. You can see what is bothering you about a person's piece and how could you fix that. That is usually one of the best ways that I've learned to improve myself. It's looking at something kind of like the one here in the back and thinking about, like, what are some elements that I do not like. Like, for example, just on this side here, below the O, over there, right over this side here, there's a big gap, and everything else has nice, it's tight and well spaced. And so there are things like that that you can just see right away and that you have to be creative to figure out. Sometimes what you learn in this piece will be helpful to do so. And also seeing that he's already created, like, he has thought of a lot of things, for example, composition, how to place those letters, and you already have a lot better way to start off this drawing than just to actually start from scratch. So using someone else's piece is a great way to start, to improve it, and not just to copy it, but also try to figure out, like, how can you make it better? Because just copying is like, there's nothing more to it. So I'm excited that that is happening. Also, you know what, I asked my assistant last time, she was in the chat, and I asked her, like, what are you guys chatting about? Like, I do not get to see all this chat going on, and she's telling me that you guys are talking in between each other, encouraging each other, and I love that. That is, for me, so beautiful to hear. And so I'm excited that you guys are just such a great community. And talking of community, I want to say thank you to my Patreons who are sponsoring this here, and also sponsoring this presentation is the Builder Bundle, Letter and Grid Builder, which are tools that you can use to draw letters with ease and create stunning composition without the hassle of always drawing. Like, kind of like playing Tetris, super easy. And think of it kind of like using a ruler, something that is simple to use, that helps you to draw straight lines. These tools help you to make composition easy and draw letters with ease. And that's something that I still use today and make use of. You can find those links in the description below, and you can find that all there and make use of them. Now, I want to jump into why we're really doing this. So again, we learn the most from others. I see a lot of small details that I believe are easy to address and perfect. So this is not really about telling someone how to do it or how to do it better, but mostly about how they can improve, like, these small details that could make a big difference. And then finally, just wanted to say to you guys, this only reflects my opinion. I do not believe that I'm the person that my opinion is the right opinion. I have just spent a lot of years perfecting my lettering, looking at a lot of letters, and that's why I'm very observant. So, but it still only reflects my opinion. You have a different opinion, that is totally fine and legit. Also, I just don't want that anyone saying like, I am right and this is how you're supposed to do it. I let everyone do it their way. And if Austin wants to keep it that way, it's totally fine. Like, his piece is beautiful as is, just leave it there. And I hope that he can learn something, take away something for the next time, and improve that in the next pieces that he does. So I don't want to dish out anything against there, just wanted to say this reflects my opinion, and I love the way that you guys are creating. Again, like one of my favorite quotes is, create something today, even if it sucks, even if it's not perfect. There's no reason to let that stop you from creating, because that's one of the worst things to actually stop you from creating, is trying to be perfect and not making that really hard. Thank you, Jonathan, as well, for letting people know. Don't forget to hit that like button if you haven't already. So smash that like button, put in a comment that you are part here of the awesome community, of the live community. I'd love to see that too. And there's somewhere a place where you can tap that into. But let's look at what are we focusing on in this exercise. So I'm using the iPad Pro for this exercise with Procreate, just because it's going to be easy to talk about that. And I want to, I'll show you again how I import that all, but now let's quickly look at what do I focus on. So number one is legibility and readability. The one thing that is mostly important when we're talking about lettering is to make sure that it looks all perfect and good, that it's not, that you can read it easily, that it's easily legible, and so readability is mostly about how fast can you read through. So again, back on the example here on my wall, create to inspire, we create to inspire others. If you can read it fast through it, that is perfect. Now, legibility is mostly the single letters themselves. Are they legible? Readability, again, full quote, legibility, single letter. Now, the second thing is composition. What is the composition? Is the balance nice? Is the space used well? Is the overall form appealing and nice? Number 3, consistency. Consistency is all the letters. Do they look alike? Are they supposed to look the way they are? Are some of them like out of line? Do they resemble each other? And do you create this consistency over every single letter throughout the word, throughout the style that you've chosen? And then finally, number 4, style. So we have 4 things again that we are looking at. Number 1, legibility and readability, seeing how fast you can read it and how well you can read it. Number 2, composition, balance, and spacing. Number 3, consistency, and finally number 4, style. So these are the 4 things that we're going to talk about and look at. So I see Rice is asking, have you guys tried in Photoshop? Do you have an iPad thinking about getting the bundle to use with Photoshop and Illustrator? So yes, the bundles, the letter and grid builder both work in Illustrator, in Photoshop, in Adobe Draw. All these Adobe apps that allow you to import Adobe Photoshop brushes, so ABR brushes, those you can use them. And you will see also that Austin actually used the builder bundle on this here, on the grid builder. So let's dive into here. Going to the top-down shots, boom. As you can see, also my setup hasn't really improved right now. Jumping back and forth. Spent the whole day yesterday playing around with the camera, with the settings, with everything around. But so far, this is where we are right now, and it's getting better. I just need some time. So let's import. Let's actually go back here to the photo, and let's look at here the video that he has made. And let's jump back here, and I'll show you how he's created. He started off with the grid builder, created like these 3 grids, same one. There's already number 1, something that I could improve here already with the grids, but that's beside the point. I like that he started out, he wrote all these pieces. And again, we're looking at number 1 is, let me just grab that list again of what the things are. Let me also just take out these funny quotes. Make some space here. And there at the end, he's adding all the details. But again, legibility, can you read it really well? And I see already number 1. There's, let's see, till he finished. So this is where he finishes. So readability and legibility. I'm having trouble to read this as an N. So the N here, this is one of the things that I have troubles with. The T is also for me not actually super clear. I can get the outside. The outside is very easily readable, and the box perfectly legible and readable. So here the only word that really struggle with is think. Here the D is also a little bit squished here with the dotted I, but generally outside the box is perfect. Think could use some work, but that is one thing about point number one. Legibility and readability. Number two, we're going and look at composition balance and spacing. So balance, again, there's some nice balance here. I feel like the spacing between these two, especially here, there's a lot of space in between. That just opens up. Here the spacing is mostly nice and tight together and equally balanced. So I feel like we could kind of shift and pivot this top word here and see how we can fit that a little bit better. So that is about composition, but generally speaking, also the composition is leaning a little bit towards the left, kind of like a shape here. The box here actually adds to it, which is kind of nice, and I like that. But definitely here a couple of things that we could put together. What am I hearing? The echo is kind of tough. Is that somehow better? I'm not sure. If there's a strong echo here. Oh, I see. Of course, there's an echo. Boom. Sorry for that. The echo should be off here. Should be all good. Let me know if that's better. So, okay. Back here to the first part. Thank you, Ruthie, also for the $1. And so again, we have composition, now consistency. Consistency, again, also one thing. So one of the things that I like to look at when I talk about consistency is if I take that into Procreate. Let's take that here. This is the final piece that he finished. Let's add here. So this is kind of a nice idea to add the whole lighting effects and all that. Why is my pen not working? Okay, this is working, but somehow Procreate is not working. Let's turn this around. Sorry for the microphone hit. Okay, now it's working. Perfect. Okay, so consistency. So if we look at here, take this brush. If I take the lines and I follow those lines here, you will see that consistency is a little bit hard to follow. So here at the bottom, it's pretty much perfect, but as you can see, those are not all parallel to each other. And I'm maybe be too strong on that, but that could be the problem here to make that worse. And so finally going in here, going back, like this, okay? So this is one of the things that I would definitely look into for the consistency is to just get those lines parallel to each other. And that's kind of where I want to start off with also the grid builder, that how the way he used it. And then finally, style. So styles, consistency is also here, the weight of those letters. Are those weights the same everywhere around? So if I take that, for example, I would need to make sure that the weight of these here are the same. And so here, for example, it's really thick. So this is kind of like, has this thickness here. Here it's a little thinner. Here's a little bit thicker than here. And you can see like all these things, those are hard to master and take a long time to do that better. And so that's why this could take some time. Finally, here the box is pretty much perfect from consistency wise. Those are actually easier to do, and I feel like script letters are the ones that take the most time to learn to perfect, just because you have those downstrokes, you have the thick strokes, and so on. You have the thin and thick strokes. So all these things here make it a little bit more difficult to use. So there we go. Styles was the last one. We see 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 3 styles in this piece, which is for me usually very fine from the amount of different styles. I would usually recommend to keep it low between 2 or 3 styles, but 3 styles is perfectly fine. I kind of feel like the box here, so if I go in here and again show you it's kind of like, okay, now that I've kind of like summarized all of these points, let's try to actually go over it. So what I will do here is reduce the opacity so we can barely see that. And I'll try to import the same grids that he used. And so let's go into the grid builder and we'll see if we can find the slant, the shear here, boom, too big. I can reduce the size easily here, put that on a top layer, and then kind of like adjust to where I want it. So here's the trick about this grid builder. So of course this looks pixelated, that's totally fine. The thing that I want to use, especially if I want the slant, and you can see that in his video, again, it's a logic move, which I like to see, is if I go back here, you can see at the beginning, he already imported like these slanted lines. Now, this is where my logic would start, is to actually take it into freeform, and then you can move this around. So you're still not really changing anything about it, but I'm trying to get the same slant that he wanted here, kind of like this. And also what you can do, and that's also a little trick, is to select the middle line, because we've just put that into the middle, but you can kind of like put it higher up, kind of like here, and change it around. Transform the grids the way you want to. Those are just basic grids that we use, but they can be easily transformed. Now that I have the first word here, I can drag that down, put it somewhere here. Now you can see already the spacing in between is a little bit harsh, but I can move that around later on. But now I can see here has the same slant, that is fine. And I'll finish that off. And the same thing with the box. That way I can see, oh, you know, here, like the box is lettered bigger. And you can see also, depending on where you put the box in, the spacing is different. So either have it close enough, then also put these two closer. That's composition wise, spacing wise. I'll put it down here and we'll see how we can use that for now. So now I'm gonna use the black brush in here, and again, spacing wise, I'm gonna start off with the first word that I think I saw the most trouble with. And so first off, I'm just gonna put in the first lines. So think, and you see these boxes in between are actually very helpful to help you with the spacing in between. Now there are two ways of connecting an N. So one way that I usually do it is kind of like this. But another way, and probably more commonly done, is this way here. So actually connecting it from the top, not from the bottom, and then going like that. But for me, I kind of like to do it this way. And so sue me, no, don't sue me, if this is wrong, but this is kind of how I want to do it. So here we go. And I can connect these. So this is one way that I like to connect that. Now you can see that this has a specific angle. So now I want to have the same angle here for the K. So I'm just gonna draw this out. I'm maybe even gonna tweak it just a tiny little bit like this. And so now you will see what I mean by that. So kind of like getting that same angle. So you see these angles remain the same here. So this is consistency for me that I want to keep. And again, also here, consistency means that I want to make sure that this line here is perpendicular, plus that I get to use the same space. Now, still very rough, still very clumsy, chunky way of drawing those letters, but already like this. And I can still play around here with the end of the T, but now you see all these lines are aligned parallel to each other. And so form more consistency together. So I hope that this is working really well. Now the next part here is outside. So outside, again, trying to keep those letter spacing. Also, the consistency of the spacing of the letters is very important. And here, if I go back to his piece of work, I can see that he did his, the T, the stroke, the cross stroke here of the T like that. But I feel like the S goes higher up here, so I kind of want to do the opposite and find like a way to make that a little bit better. Going back to the right. But if we go back to consistency, you see that stroke here? That is kind of the same way, the same angle that I would like to. So maybe I do want to keep that. So I kind of want to copy this stroke here and make that same here. So I can use that spacing really well, actually. And to clean that up. And then finally here, maybe 2, if I wanted to give that stroke here. And you can see, now I can correct even this stroke, connect this a little bit more to this stroke style. Maybe just like that. So again, tidying it up, that is the first part that I would do, is to clean it up a tiny little bit, making sure that these styles are more, have the most balance between all this, the letters, the orientation, and that way you can already clean up your lettering piece so easily. It's a great way to really bring it together, just to clean it up, to make sure that all these lines here are perfectly parallel to each other, so they have the same orientation, and even these lines here, that you bring some consistency by adding some elements, kind of like these cross lines, that they have the same angle overall, and that will also make it easier for the next part when you are starting to add the weight. Because now that the spacing in between those letters is pretty much the same, we can do the next thing. But right now it's still in the sketch phase, so I'm trying to keep that a minimum here. Maybe I'll change that way. But for now, I'm really happy with this, and almost time to go for the box. And let's see if we can improve that. So box again, I'm gonna take here. I would probably use the letter builder here for this one. And you can either stay in this size, but you can also just go a tiny little bit out of that box. But then I would definitely change the size of the box. So think outside the box, fits really well in here. And then finally here, we want to keep the inside. So I'm gonna reduce that size here. I'm gonna maybe even take the crossbar from the B as my height. Just a tiny bit like this. All right. So now the final thing is here, this spacing, this actually now, because since I've filled in the space in between, this space here feels too big, and I feel like I can reduce that size, bring it a little bit back, maybe even bring it back that way. Reduce the size, perhaps? No. But let's see how I can move it around, find the best possible place here. And so one of the things that I said also at the beginning was just that it all feels slanted this way. So right now, and that's kind of where you can see the overall shape is if you connect all these parts here, kind of like that. So I feel like this feels fine. I could potentially have more of a hexagon styled piece here. So I feel like there's something that needs to go in here, and then it could almost become a circle. All right, so the box, we know now the box could well go in here, maybe kind of close off the T a little bit more, kind of like that. So the idea, I love the idea with the box, adding a little illustration to your piece of lettering, just to make that whole stand out. And then finally, also with these strokes, I would try to not make it too, like, get the focus, keep the focus on the lettering. So if we take back here the, let's see if I can duplicate this one, pull it up here. So I want the focus to really be on this piece itself, not necessarily have those lines distract me. So I kind of would either reduce the number of strokes, this kind of how it blows out, find like a nice balance between. So I'm all about finding the right balance, finding the elements that would work. And I would start planning that in already as I go. And I would use that also to fill out the shape, to make it round, in the sense of if I take those pieces here, I feel like that should work. So if I would, again, create that circle, and maybe now I should create another circle. So here, perfect circle, like that. And now here, these elements should become like just some elements that would kind of like give you the idea that it is all in a circle. But if you're overdoing it, it could kind of look too much. Again, breaking out tiny little bit sometimes helps to balance it also really well. Just 1 second, my assistant texted me. All right, now it's good. Yes, everyone was talking about the echo. I'm sorry about that. There was a problem with the microphone. I set up a new camera here for the iPhone, and that's why it echoed together, which is a little bit stupid. So if I take back the circle now, it should give you this nice shape. And if I take, if I merge down all of these and hide the letters, that's kind of where you left off. So I feel like this gives you already a nice looking feel. And now the one thing that we should be doing is making it all, making sure that all the, again, going through legibility. So can you read it well? So I may perhaps say that this here is a little bit too close to the H. So let's go to the right, like that. That kind of would work. Like this. And then finally, and then you can start to add some weights, decide on how you want to end those letters here. Again, here, this is probably one of the hardest parts, is to get that consistency over all the strokes correct. And this is where you go back and forth, or you add some, take some away, and just take some time to get it all correct, all nice. And by no means would I actually say that I'm anywhere perfect with consistency. I'm struggling with it, probably like everyone else. And there's some that are just fantastic at it, and I don't not always belong to them. And I'm saying not always. Sometimes it works really well, sometimes it doesn't, and that's totally fine. So like this, that's already looking really well. And then you just need to find like the styles that will complement each other really well. So again, like I said, the at the beginning of the piece was a little bit kind of like rough brushes, not like nice finished edges. And so there's a lot of work that could be put into that. And so the next part definitely would be also to use the grid builder, like I said, like here, just to make sure that all of these are right on the line. So next part would be to kind of hide this and to go over it again. And in a nice way. So now I could even use a pencil brush.
That smile, Lord knows I ain't seen that in a while, but it's your style, so something must be up keeping you down. You a queen that must be heaven sent. Pray my soul, I must repent for not telling you what I meant and how I felt. Honestly, I'm used to throwing wishes in a well. My conscience tells me that I could have helped without fail. Actions speak louder than words, and that's a lesson that I learned all by myself. Let her know, I gotta let her know that she my white horse, she my medical. She like my baby mama, know how to take care of me. Give my baby problems, you gon' regret every day. So I let her know, gotta let her know. Came through the front door, I'll be ready for it. And if it's what you want, I'ma give it to you. Yeah, promise, I'ma give it to you. Stress is all around us, these high ceilings, and I need it, baby. Pressure and make diamonds, I won't steal it, baby. Silent, baby. Hurts to see you crying, know you trying, ain't no lying, baby. When I say I need you, greedy if I have to share you. It was me that all along did you wrong, thinking that I made you beautiful and strong. This toxicity, the death of me, I fear the day you gone. The most beautiful girl I've ever known. I'll find a way to treat you better. I swear there's no one out there like you. You teach me to be better. My talk is cheap, keep asking what I do. I'll fly you to the moon and hope I'll see you soon. I'll find a way to treat you better. No problem, I'll do whatever. Let her know, I gotta let her know that she my white horse, she my medical. She like my baby mama, know how to take care of me. Give my baby problems, you gon' regret every day. So I let her know, gotta let her know. Came through the front door, I'll be ready for it. And if it's what you want, I'ma give it to you. Yeah, promise, I'ma give it to you.
So again, just to make sure that the D here also looks fine, but this is how you can put it all together. So I was actually trying to come up with a lot of new ideas for challenges that I want to do. Kind of like the speed drawing challenges. And do you want to hear the list of ideas that I have? I have a lot. Like I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 different challenge ideas that I want to probably put together, and seeing how you guys would react to them. So let me know in the comments below how you would feel about a one-line drawing challenge. That means I would be drawing just one line, going around and trying to design a whole quote with just one single line. The second one, and I'm not sure how well it actually would work, but it would be to do a blindfold drawing challenge. And so kind of like closing my eyes off, well, closing my eyes, but also just putting a blind around me just to make sure that you guys believe me and trust me, and to draw something out, drawing a whole quote. And I don't know, like you cannot finish, perfect it, or do anything about it, but this is kind of how I would do it. Or drawing in a other app, trying to find maybe the worst drawing app there is on the App Store and trying to draw something in it. Because I believe that number one is that you are able to draw anything with anything. So I should be able to make a lettering piece with just bananas. Just have to figure it out. That could be a challenge too. Drawing lettering with a banana. 24-hour drawing challenge. That would be crazy. Drawing for 24 hours straight. I would actually start off with number one, to start off with 5 hours, move on to 10 hours or 8, 10 something, 10-hour drawing challenge, and then a 24-hour drawing challenge. How crazy would that be, guys, if I did 24 hours of drawing names or words or whatever? I'm not even sure how I could fill up that time with drawing letters, but maybe there's a way to do like the most intricate lettering piece ever. Then speed drawing part 2, where kind of like do like more different times. Drawing 1,000 names. That would be crazy. So imagine if I would draw like all my Patreon names. Those are about 109 different Patreons. If I draw all of them, and then I still have to draw 900 more names. So either you're getting to be a patron and then you get your name for sure, but that would be really cool. And left-hand drawing challenge, drawing with my left hand. I'm not sure how that would work really well. A 1-minute drawing challenge, drawing as many different quotes as possible in just 1 single minute. There's no way you can think about it too much. Maybe I'll give myself 2 minutes. That's probably more like it. Then left versus right challenge. To see which hand works better, but that's pretty much clear for me. Customizing objects. Imagine all the names that you could, well, customizing objects like drawing on a laptop, a MacBook, this bottle here, on my phone, on a microphone, on my headphones, or wherever I could think of. A lot of different things. And then one artist, 50 different styles. Those are some ideas that I have for future YouTube live streams. And you guys, if you really want to make sure that you do not miss them, you should be able to subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and you can already turn on the notification bell for the next live stream, which is going to happen very soon, and I can't wait to show you guys that. So again, I'm really excited about that. Can't wait to see what you guys think. And 10-hour, 5-hour, all these different idea live stream sounds insane. I know it does sound insane. I cannot actually wait to do that. But you know what? Again, don't forget to hit the like button, smash the like button, hit the subscribe button so you do not miss out. And you can also send me all the crazy challenge ideas that you have, because I want to see those in the comments below. If you have a crazy drawing challenge idea, test me, challenge me. I love a challenge. I love a good challenge. So let me know in the comments below. So let's go back to the drawing part that we're doing here. So I just redid all the lines, tried to make them a little bit better, perfect, and still a lot of work here, but I'm gonna do the box later. I'm just gonna focus here first on this one here. You can see also all the places where you can follow me on Patreon here on the right, then TypoX Photo here, Stefan Kunz on Pinterest and on Instagram. Don't forget to also post what you're doing. Like, I'm seeing a lot of these drawing challenges that you have done. You can also use one of your old pieces, redo them, kind of go through the same process again through those 4 things: legibility, readability, composition, spacing, and balance. consistency, how well consistent are your letters, and finally styles, like are you applying the nicest styles to it. So one of the ways that I love to do it, my styles, is again to put the weight on top and at the bottom. And I do that. I usually start by a letter that I feel like I'm comfortable with. For example, here, the H, and I just add some weight here, top and bottom. If I really want to make sure that it's consistent, I'm trying to just add like another line here, parallel to the other line here, and another line there, just so I can see that it stays parallel. And as you can see already, I'm using probably too much space on the lower part there, but that's okay. So kind of adding a loop here. So this is my signature style for lettering. And I'm just gonna dip a tiny little bit below just because it's rounded off. And again, that kind of loop here. So here it feels like there's just too much space, so I might have to move that a tiny little bit inwards just to balance out those spacing issues. That looks a lot better. And just then maybe erase some parts here. So here's a little fun fact, what I've learned at some point. Honestly, I'm not sure if I'm quoting this correctly, but apparently when you're doing a cross between two pieces, it should never be thick on thick. So if you have a thick line going through it, there can only be a thin line going through. You can have two thin lines going through, but you can never have two thick lines crossing each other. So in this case here, again, thick on thick, no. Thin on thin, yes. Not sure if I like that, but we're getting there. We're getting there. Always sometimes about finding out how to do it right. It's more about these parts here that I'm not so sure. Because honestly, somehow I would love to add the weight more like this. Probably would change the weight here on this side. So this is what I was talking about here on that end. So I'm probably gonna try to replicate this on this side. And so change here the weight distribution. I tell you that comes from a lot of trial and error because I've drawn this style so many times, and this is why I feel like I look at it, and again, kind of like I look at someone else's pieces, I'd probably look at like, ah, this looks strange, this is different, and I try to make it a little bit better and improve it as I go on. All right, so we got the first part. And now I'm gonna try to do this second word, pretty much the same style. And again, I'm gonna try by grabbing these lines here and adding them here. Again, all for consistency, to make the letters look more the same. We're trying to replicate the same style here, so after we get out of the cross, see if we can just add the weight. Again, consistency, all about trying to get the same weight everywhere. And that means sometimes you have to rework those pieces to get the right thickness. And here I'm trying to get the same height, not to go over this here. So I'm just gonna reduce the line. Somehow that feels like it's not heavy enough at the top here. Kind of need some elements. I feel that is also a little bit wrong. Maybe this needs here just a tiny little bit more weight. All right, so this is one way of doing it. Let's see if we can use this a little bit here. Well, let me bring that back, but then try another option is to again So here, my opinion on how to get the best consistency on the weights is to actually add like strokes with the same distance. So you can decide like I wanted to have it like a 3-stroke weight, and then kind of like find a way to do the same distance in between all of them. That way, this could become actually a really easy way to connect all of them and keep that same weight and consistency overall. That is more the regular way of doing the weights, the contrasts. So again here, 3 lines. Actually use these for 3 lines here. So kind of like use the eye here to fill that out. And again, 1, 2, 3. Let's see, let's have a look. So I really like the consistency right now with those 3 strokes. Again, you can add 1 more stroke if you want to. It's a little bit harder now with a 4th stroke just because you would add everywhere in between. And the next part is really to just finish all these sides off. And depending on where you want to add the contrast, you can go ahead and finish this off. But right now, I really like where it's going. Now just making sure that the space between here as well is nice. Just be a little bit too thick. Then also what you can do is maybe twirl it 1 more time in here. There's 1 tiny little bit that I'm unhappy with this part here, and that's a cool thing now. It's actually using the warp function, advanced mesh. I can kind of like move it out a tiny little bit just so it makes a perfect circle. So that's just some advanced features that you could use. Again, I would probably want to have the dotted eye here. I could try to implement something here and then cut out something like that, but that's brings a little bit too much complexity into the drawing, which I do not want to. Personal preference. Again, you can go through the same thing with the second word, doing the same styles, ending the same thickness, the 3 strokes again, kind of like giving that here. It's kind of where it started off with, really giving it here these 3 strokes, back and forth. And then same thing here, trying to keep the same style. And then putting it all together. So forth, so on and so forth. I'm going back to the one that I designed here. I'm gonna keep finishing on that one. Let's see, the box. So the box, again, we have the BOX. I'm gonna try to add the letter builder. So going into my brushes here, letter builder, and I wanna use the condensed italic because that's already the closest. Whoa, too big, way too big. Bring it down a notch here, perfect. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna transform it and get it to the box size that I want. So I still need to move that a tiny little bit further, not too much, just like that. And then I can also just get a little bit closer together, more narrow. That looks like it fits it really, really well. And now I can just copy and paste this here. And now I'm a little bit, need to move that out just tiny little bit, get those on a straight line, and probably just to make sure, gonna get them here on the grid box, grid builder. And then finally, again, just by the eye, trying to get the distance in between every single one of them. Like that. So now I can move on, pinch these together, use my pencil. And since I also kind of like tweak them, I want to have the same distance here, so I'm just gonna do that by the eye. A little bit like this. And same thing over here. Making those tiny little adjustments on the top, especially. And then finally for the X. Fine tuning here too, because I actually want that. All right. just like that. And finally, I'll want to move this higher up to fit that box really well. And then finally, again, doing the same thing with the, and I'm just gonna reuse here this part of the letter builder. See this lower part here. Actually comes in really handy because I can keep the same style, consistency, the same thickness overall, and just make those letters a little bit tinier. But you see, the letter builder is just basically lines that will help you to draw all of these elements a little bit easier. Just like that. Let's see if that will fit in well with the rest of it. It's a little bit big though. But if I move it around just this tiny little bit, I do feel like the is a little bit too big. Now, with some transforming options here, it's not gonna be perfect, of course, but squishing it together a tiny little bit. I do get to trick that without having to redraw every single thing about it. But what I will need to correct is just the weight here, and here, and here, and here, and here. And then finally, on the box, the X could come in a tiny little bit closer. So that is kerning, getting the nice spacing in between those letters right. And I also can move out the O from this side. That way, that will get fixed as well. Cut off a little bit too much here. All right. Finally, we need to add the box. So let's see how we can draw the box in here. Again, I'll try to use a new layer. And we'll get the circle back in here. I'll actually duplicate that. Duplicate, not delete. Duplicate that circle. Try to get it in as close as possible. Oh, see, there's the circle shape. So if I move that, that is pretty much where the circle should go around. So there's definitely something missing here. But now, depending on how we put in the box, oh, and I also wanted to kind of hide the T first here for a second. So I'm actually gonna draw that in, make the box a little bit bigger. somehow feel that the box could even be somehow bigger. So I'll use a mask here to see how that would look like. Box would hide the, and then hide the circles again. But if we bring back those circles here, this one, especially this one, if I wanted to add some, like to fill out the space, again, going back to the spacing issue, seeing if I could incorporate, like add some elements, either prolong this here, just to get all the way out to the edges, or you can create like elements that would take up the space in here. One other way of adding decorative elements are usually droplets, but right now I'm struggling with that a little bit too. And again, the way Stunner Ink did it is actually adding these glow or these sun rays. And so that way to do it really well too is to actually go into the canvas settings, edit drawing guide, and then going to the perspective. And so here you can see just where your circle is, put that pretty much in the middle, almost like there. So now that when you draw in, you see, oh, you know what? That's where I can add a sun ray. I wouldn't use all of them, just some of them, like, and even kind of balancing it between these. So maybe let's see how that would look. Hide the sketch behind. Whoa, that wasn't the sketch. That was the sketch. Where's my piece here? So again, taking out the sketches as well help you to see where you definitely need to invest more time. Maybe even adding these, making these thicker, getting them the same weight, perhaps could help. Again, I'm trying to figure out, as you probably are as well. And so you see that Stunner Ink already actually thought about it a lot, and it's not as easy. Like, he encountered problems as he was going on. He probably thought of those things as well while he was doing it. And so we always have to think about that to come up with these new ideas. What do you guys think about ZA changing his content from drawing to customizing things? That's a great question. I do not know why he's doing that, but customizing things is a fun game to do and to create new content. Also giving it away to famous YouTubers is definitely one way to get a lot of views on his content, and just incredible how he has grown in the last couple of weeks. So here, maybe if I start filling out the box, that could also give us some idea here. Oh, why not do it like that? So in this case, maybe we'll go back to this one here. and just put that in. But yeah, that is where I definitely would go. Let's see if we can. Ooh, I like just one part of it. I didn't like all of it. Take out these flares again. Let's see if we can create something else. Maybe the other part here was actually also really good. I actually like this style. Fits better than my style in this context. What if I duplicate this style here? Duplicate, and then just added the same weights. Kind of make a monoline just as boxes. Now I need to make sure that everything here is also perfectly aligned, still working within the sizes here of the grid. Otherwise, consistency, just by correcting it, I would lose the consistency, which I do not want to do, but it could happen really easily. E is already super large compared to the rest. So just by putting it over and also just getting it a little bit closer to the other letters would actually help. But I feel like we're getting there closer and closer. So let's see. Also guys, please take the time, just a second here, to also not forget to like and smash that like button if you haven't already. Just take a second, look up over your screen. Also, take a picture with your phone. Like for example, you take a screenshot of how your workspace is looking while you're watching the stream. Give a smile, and we can take a selfie all together right now if you want to. So let's maybe just grab your phone, grab whatever you have, and then even at the end, if you want to not be bothered right now because, hey, you're drawing, I hope you're drawing, then you can also take the selfie at the end by just going to that second right now. And in 3, so 3, 2, 1, and then we can take a picture together, and then you can also just be there like that. Let's see. Also, if you haven't already subscribed to this YouTube channel, there's a lot of challenges that I want to take. For example, the blindfolded drawing, the drawing of 1,000 names. So if you want to have your name to be on there, you can just become a Patreon, because I'm gonna start out with all the names of my Patreons and go from there. So if you want your name to be in there, join the exclusive Patreon membership group, and you get like news updates. By the way, I have to talk to my assistant Judith. Judith, we need to set up a Zoom call for the Patreons and a coaching call for someone. Decide someone to take up. So she's gonna do that right now, actually. I have to ask her as well, like what other stuff we can do with our Patreons, but she's actually doing the behind the scenes here in the office. So if there's anything you would like to know and want to see and hear, like ideas for streams, like Jonathan, who's actually helping me manage this chat and who's always here with you guys, he always gives me great ideas for what we should do in the YouTube live streams. So if you have great ideas too, then you can just add them there, and I'll definitely always take into consideration all of my subscribers, my Patreons, and all those people. So yes, absolutely amazing. I have a hard time pronouncing it. Swarnima Shrestha. Not the easiest name to pronounce, but I hope I did it right. Asking, do you prefer manual or iPad lettering? I love both. I really enjoy doing both. And actually go back to top down here. See, this is where I'm at right now with the drawing. I actually love to do both. So it may be drawing on the iPad, it may be drawing on the chalk wall. There's so many different things that I love doing, and that's why I love lettering in general, is because I get to do all of these different things and to play around with that. So here we go. I kind of changed the whole look, made it all a bit thicker here, just all kind of like a mono weight, and kind of like how it's looking right now. I'm enjoying this style here. Maybe get something there. Just like that. Again, all about consistency, just to get those strokes as close as possible. And like I told you before, I'm not necessarily the best one. And here, see this gap here, this is not like, it doesn't look like it's coming together. So, and one idea would be to actually combine them, but then I would have to kind of push the whole letter here as well. Might also reduce just this part here. Maybe just let that go a little bit higher up, but not too far. Yeah, that looks nice. And then erase that here. think outside the box. See, now I just had an idea, and this is why it's fun to play around with ideas, is that what if we created a whole box that went kind of like this around, and now I'm just gonna have to place it somewhere around. So see, this is now the part that is a little bit more difficult, is to get so that the box would actually go from this end to this end. Kind of like the thought that it actually follows this line here. Maybe we'll actually go down just a tiny little bit further. There's a question, I'm not sure what the answer is. Steven Garcia is asking, what paper settings do you use? Can you elaborate that question? What do you understand with paper settings? Are you talking about the canvas size on the iPad that I'm using here in Procreate? What are you referring to? How can I help you? And then we're gonna add these rays. Maybe not too much here, but let's hide the grid builder behind there and then go back to the layer where I drew, yes, this one that I'm already on, and kind of hide a tiny little bit more of the box here. So this is my pretty much where I would go to. Definitely could go further. Again, I could keep on adding, keep on giving more details. But let's review what we've learned in this YouTube live stream, see what we can dissect and how we've improved this one piece, go through the points again that I've mentioned at the beginning, what we focused on. And so here we go. Let's look at the piece, the very first piece from Stunner Inc. Here we have it, Stunner Inc. I always thought his name was Eric, so Stunner Eric, but his name is Austin. He's from Mexico. And so again, thank you, Austin, so much for letting us use your piece to perfect it. Maybe a lot of you guys have also ideas how I could perfect your piece. Again, you see he added a lot of cool styles into it. He added even a drop shadow, kind of like elements there. There's so much, it's so fully packed with ideas in here, and I love it. That's great thinking and great art. So absolutely thumbs up for you. And if you want to, give him a follow on Instagram. He is drawing, he's creating, and he is doing the right way. So he's actually trying his best, and that's what I love about that. Nevertheless, I want to take this piece apart again to learn from it, to learn how I could even perfect that, learn from his mistakes, make it better. You can also use one of your old pieces. You do not have to just pick out other people's work, but this is how I would retry to recreate it, and it's a fun exercise, especially with a quote that is fun and it's great. Again, I saw a lot of details that I felt like, oh, you know what? Just the thickness, the consistency of the thickness of all those letters, just the direction of all letters to have them right. Sometimes it helps me to understand why I think this is the best way to do that, and to keep on doing it, to perfect your lettering, or why you're doing the way you do. So this is his piece, and again, we looked at the legibility, the readability. We looked at composition and spacing and balance. We looked at the consistency of the letters, of how we put that all together. And finally, we looked at the styles of the letters. You can see he did a lot of things. I reduced it a lot. And so this is what I came up with in the end. This piece here, of course, it's not finished, but it's already further ahead. So again, consistency. Well, let's go through the point again. Legibility and readability. Legible are every single one of those letters. Like, could I pick that out, and could you understand that that is an I, an N, a K, an H? And one of the things that I saw with here his work was was that the N was hard to read. So if I scale that down again, where is it here? So if I go here, the N could have been an A, could have been a U. It was hard to see that it's actually an N. So this is one of the very first things that I want to make sure that these letters are easily legible. Then the number 2 was, again, composition, balance, and spacing. So seeing all the spaces in between. For example, I'm still seeing, I could still point out here, this part is a little bit thicker. There's a lot of space here. I'm not really happy with this triangle part. But again, that is kind of normal, but we do not have a big difference. Again, actually, you know what? I would probably push this one here up a tiny little bit more, because this space is a little bit bigger, but the difference is not as large as it was with the other piece. Then we focus on consistency. Again, trying to make sure that all the strokes of those letters are the same. One trick you can do easily, let's see if I can just grab that, is to create lines. And if you're doing it in this style here, then try to use this cross the stroke methods. Like, create strokes in between here. Like, these are 3 strokes. You can make it more, like you can create 4 strokes depending on how you want to do it. This is an easy way to do it. Just get those strokes in, connect it, and then try to put it up, make it nice and tight and beautiful, but keep it consistent as best as you can, and try to perfect it every single time as you go on. Then going back here to the sketch, and I can barely see where this other layer is. Here we go. I think, no, that wasn't it. There must be a bigger box. I hope I didn't delete it. Oh no, there it is. Here we go. Sorry for that. And then, yeah, we played around consistency, the styles, again, trying to come up with styles. You can still keep on going. You could take this here, play around with the style. Like you can add some gradient here inside, like an inline, like on every single letter. So you can still add a lot to it and keep on working here and add your touches and just keep on going. See, this already kind of looks cool in some way. So again, try to perfect it, adding some styles. But again, are the styles cool enough in itself? If you would pick out all the words, like if you would just leave box as is it cool enough? And so that's also where I just want to go back to, where Austin did a great job with these styles. He added so many elements, but again, watch out that it's not just too much, that you're not just throwing everything in. That's one of the things that a friend told me, is just make sure that you're not trying to hide the fact that your letters are not perfect by adding so many styles. And it's something that every beginner will like to do, and just do all these pieces. So this is it. Think outside the box, try to come up with new ideas, come up with awesome things. I hope that you enjoyed this. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't hit the like button, don't forget to do that before you leave. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're not subscribed to this channel, we're doing a lot of new challenges in the coming weeks. So I'm gonna try to do a 5-hour drawing challenge very soon, probably next week, because I'm out of ideas somewhere of what I should be doing here. If you have other ideas, then please let me know, and I cannot wait to do more. And yeah, if you want to become a exclusive Patreon member, then join us on Patreon. The link is in the description. You can become a Patreon just with $1 by just supporting this channel here and the live stream and doing this stuff. On Wednesday, today's Wednesday. On Friday, we're going to do the letter G, 16 styles of the letter G. So you can already go to the video. You can tap the notification bell so you're not gonna miss out. Invite a friend to do this challenge with you. You can download already the drawing sheet that we're gonna use there. Maybe I'll get a haircut by then. Who knows what happens in the next few days. And I cannot wait to see you then. So guys, don't wait up. See you there, and have a great day, rest of the day, evening, night, whatever it is right now, what time it is, and just enjoy. Bye.